and welcome to the super fun, awesome, happy time. Are you Saracana? Because if you are, this is for you, the Treminator. Get it? Like the Terminator?
Are you the guy from The Simpsons? Like
Rainier Wolfcastle. Yes.
Okay.
I live by the power of applesauce.
Yeah.
Pedal show, my name is Captor.
That's the best intro we've ever done. Hey, welcome along. I'm Alex for some reason, and this is the Treminator from Dreadbox. Treminator.
He'll be back.
This is a Tremolo, actually, despite all that stuff.
Sent from the future.
Please do like and subscribe on the channel.
Please do if you maybe.
And
if you like bad dad jokes.
Gives a thumbs up. We're going to check it out. This is sent to us from Dreadbox themselves.
Yes, so big thank you to the awesome people at Dreadbox.
Cool. Now, it's a Tremolo, but there's a lot going on, so stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of explanations of secondary functions, etc.
Yes.
But to hear it, we're going through a Mozztronics Amp Switcher, OTS Mini 20 head, 2 notes, Torpedo, Captor, for cab sims, a little bit of reverb.
Yes.
And, yeah, shall we dive in?
Yes. So like with, again, first of all, like I say in all these videos with Dreadbox, love the way they look. And one thing I really like about this whole series of pedals is they all basically have 4 knobs on them, maybe 5 in some cases, and a switch usually. Yep. Super easy to get good sounds out of, but if you want to go deep, you can go very deep with secondary functions.
True.
And with the CV inputs as well, which we will do at the end of the video. So there's timestamps, so there will be talking because there has to be talking. So okay. What is the Treminator, you ask, Alex?
Nope, it's a Tremolo.
Okay, it is. But there's more to it. So basically, well, really it is a VCA, a voltage-controlled amplifier. And you can control, via an LFO, which you can see flashionizing here, you can control this VCA. So it comes from the keyboard world, basically. So let's just start off by looking at the firsternary functions. Well, secondary, the functions of the knobs that you see in front of you without going into the secondary functions. So basically you've got a rate, you've got fade, you've got depth, you've got shape, and you've got a tap division, and just multiply division, so not just for the taps, which is here, but generally you can make it go faster with that. And you have an on and off switch. So should we just check it out as just a straight tremolo?
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Clean tone?
Yes.
Sire L7.
I don't know if you can see it, but it says 20 seconds. So it goes ridiculously slow.
Oh, yeah, then so.
It goes from ridiculously slow to really fast. So let's just start off with, so we've got the speed. You also have this division thing. So if you go to, so it's basically, what that means is it's 1 to 1, 3 to 1, and 4 to 1. If you go to 4 to 1 and go all the way up, it's crazy fast. So it gets faster as you go higher up, even with that all the way up, right? Yep. So it's a multiplier, it divides it, right? So let's begin by looking at the shapes. So basically you have these shapes. You have what's called a sawtooth, you have a square wave, you have a kind of a ramping, like a reverse sawtooth or ramping.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is that triangle, not square?
Oh, sorry, square, triangle. Square's on the other side. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Triangle, ramping or reverse sawtooth, then you've got the square, and then you've got a random. Cool. So let's start off with the sawtooth. Then with the depth, I mean, it was all the way up at the moment, the depth, just so you can hear it. You can make it more subtle. You can have it sort of more in the background with a little bit of the dry signal mixed in. you go faster.
Pretty.
Then, like I said, with the tap divisions, that's 1 to 1. If you go to this one, for each one of them, you get 3. So if I go really slow. For each tap, right? That's basically that. So that's like a normal tremolo, right? The speed, the type of shape, kind of modulation you have, and how the depth you want to go for.
Check.
Now, you're happy with just the triangle?
Yeah.
Like that?
That's
okay.
Prettier.
That's quite a pretty sounding. Okay. Now, the other thing you have here, which is easy to see, because it's right there, is a control called fade. And what fade does is it actually fades in the tremolo. So you can either fade the tremolo in or fade the tremolo out. So it says in on one side, out on the other side. So basically as you go over this way, if you now play, it fades in as you ring out. So it's not there as you strum it.
Sure.
What you can also see as you're playing is this light lights up, which is a gate. Right? Dog.
Bye.
Yeah, just push your way through. Which is a gate. Now, what the gate does is the gate, depending on where you set the threshold of the gate, that depends on how quickly it fades in and fades out, which is the secondary function of the rate. We'll get into that as well. So you've got fade in or you've got fade out. So fade out, it goes away. You strum, it's there, and then it goes away. So just the volume goes away, basically, right? Now, like I said, with this, so this, okay, the on-off switch, if you hold it in, is what's called a shift function, which lets you control secondary functions. Now, the secondary functions for the rate is the gate, right? The threshold of the gate. So, for example, turn the threshold right down. The light stays on, it doesn't even go off. The gate is always on, right? So you can set where you want, how hard you have to, it's basically how hard you have to hit the strings for the gate to take control, which then determines also how quick the fade function comes into play. So for example, if you play now, if I go the opposite direction, it's now more sensitive, so it comes in quicker, you know what I mean? So you can set it to where you want it to be for the fade to come in earlier or later.
Cool.
Anyway, that's fade in function, right?
Yeah.
It's set to gate somewhere there again, right? Now, let's look at other secondary functions. Now, the other kind of cool thing you have with this is you can assign an an envelope to the LFO. So what an envelope means is, which is also related to the gate, which means what you can make the tremolo do is as you strum it, it slows down as the chord rings out, or it speeds up as the chord rings out. Now, that's the secondary function of the fade and the depth.
Okay.
So, for example, what we can now do is, so if this is set in the middle, right, with the secondary function, it's just a straight tremolo, right? So, you got it with secondary functions. You got to then always think of where was it set before the knob, because you move the knob to get access to the secondary function, which means you move it from where it's physically pointing to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway.
So when you move it, it moves.
But only the function so if you hold that in, only the secondary function moves. So even though for example the rate knob points in that direction to where it looks like it's really fast, it may not be really fast because you've moved the secondary function. Does that make sense? Anyway, so now if you play it now, it's just a normal tremolo. If I now move this to, let's say, this side, what we're now engaging is that envelope-controlled tremolo. Oh, and now, sorry, the other thing I got to do, now with this, the secondary function for the depth is the amount. And you can kind of see it here already as I'm turning this. So you can set it to very fast. What it means is it goes, as you turn it, as you play, when it speeds up or slows down, it goes to a really fast speed. So if you try it now, and depending on where you set that, that's how sort of fast it gets. Yeah, so that's basically, what do they actually call it? It's called the rate expression amount and rate expression. So this is basically whether you want it to go, and then actually, so if you go the other way, it now does the it slows down as it fades out, right? So this sets what you want, whether you want it to fade out or fade in, and this assigns to basically it goes from 0 to wherever it's set.
Check.
Now, also by doing this, if you go further that way, for example, the time it takes for it to happen changes as well. So it's much slower. If you go this way,
it doesn't happen at all.
Well, maybe it went completely off. So maybe if I go there. Let's change that. There you go. So it's really quick, right? If you go further this way, almost to 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's the time it takes for the envelope. It's the sensitivity almost of the envelope. Right. So so if you set it right up here, let's try it on this side, for example. Goes very quickly to the faster thing. If you go further this way, it takes longer. You know what I mean? It's sort of gradually.
Yes.
Right? That's what we said with this. So that's the secondary functions of those two. Now the other thing you can do now, so let's set this back to do you want it to ramp up or like speed up or slow down?
Let's speed up. That
speed up? Okay, so kind of what we had before.
Yeah.
So what about this?
That's pretty subtle.
Pretty subtle?
Yeah.
Now the other thing you can do, this shape function. Actually, let's go back to without that. Let's just go back to straight tremolo because it's easier maybe to see what it does. The shape, the secondary function for shape is what's called a reset. Now reset means it, and again it's linked to the gate. Now if you play a tremolo, right, and let's say you play a fairly staccato sort of riff, you're playing a chord and you kind of hit it and you want a tremolo, you play it, you let it ring, but between chords you kind of stop, right? Actually, let me do it. Easier to show than to explain. Okay. So if you play, for example, now the problem with the tremolo, any time-based stuff is you can get very easily out of time. When you hit it, it's on a peak or some, it doesn't line up with what you're playing.
Lower volume part.
Lower volume part. What you can do with this is you can do it every time the gate gets activated. It resets. So every time you play it, it starts again.
Sure.
So the tremolo waits for the gates to open. Gate again. Now if I turn it off, which is sort of everything below 12 o'clock is off, everything above 12 o'clock is on. The tremolo just goes.
Yep.
Whereas if you do that, every time the gate opens,
gotcha.
it starts the pattern again. It's called reset.
Ah, there you go.
And I mean, that's basically that. That's pretty much tremolo.
Cool. Should we try some combos?
Now, yeah, so the other thing, the bit that we haven't gotten into yet is the whole CV stuff. So we're going to get another pedal now set up and try to hook them up together because you can kind of link pedals together with that. So back in a sec. And we're back now with the Disorder and a Treminator hooked up together. Yeah, let's check out some of the CV stuff you can do with it. Let's just see what it sounds like without any CV stuff. So this is, I don't know, just a tremolo. But now, wouldn't it be cool? It sounds good.
Sounds sick.
But wouldn't it be cool now if you could make them kind of work in sync together? Right?
Sure.
So how about, let's start off with, it's up here we've got a CV out. Basically what the CV out does is it looks at the LFO and what's going on in here, and you can then now assign that to something in here. So for example, let's use that to control the filter here. So before, when we're playing, it was an envelope controlled filter, so it was like an auto wire. So what we're now going to do is we're going to use that CV out to control the filter. And we can even turn the Treminator off and it still does the same thing, right? So then now the speed of this controls the filter now. Actually, one function, a secondary function I forgot to mention before is the division switch. You can, the secondary function is you can actually multiply that even more. So by going, where is it? So you can times 2 and times 4 that. So the 4 times multiplier can times 4 it again. So it's times 16 basically. So if you move this to there, that's 1 to 1, right? So now it's just where it's set. But if you now move this to here, this is now 4 times the speed.
And that's all with the tremolo off.
The tremolo's off, so I'm not even using
the
it.
distortion.
So now if I turn it on, you get that plus the tremolo. But what if you like the envelope on here, and you want that to control the tremolo? So what we can, for example, also do is we can use the envelope out here and go into the CV in here.
Sick.
So now that envelope is going to control this now.
Okay, slow gear thing.
Yeah. And that doesn't need to be on again. Right? You can just control it with that. You can, and also, if you really want to, you can have the filter control that, but then you can also have that go back controlling the filter.
Trippy sounds. It's yeah, envelopey.
Very. So you've got the envelope from here controlling the ramping of the speed of the tremolo, but then you have that in turn control the filter on here.
Squishy filter thing.
Squishy filter thing. So I mean that's one of the things you can do. And then you've got the VCA as well. So that is basically you could control the volume. But I mean, we don't need to do that with this because we have a tremolo anyway. But I mean, that's just one of the options. And then if you have multiple pedals, you can link them together. But I mean, that's just one of the things you can do with it, which I think sounds pretty cool.
Very fun.
So should we maybe have a couple of sound examples?
Let's do that. See what we can do with the Treminator.
Treminator. And that was the Treminator by Dreadbox.
Thought there's more to that sentence.
No.
What do you guys think? It's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it can get a bit mad, yeah.
It kind of goes from pretty to crazy very quickly. You could easily lose an afternoon in it.
Yeah. And I mean, especially if you're into the whole, Eurorack stuff,
Modular.
you can connect that to all the modules and then go absolutely crazy with it. So, once again, big thank you to Dreadbox for sending this out to us. We always really, really enjoy these Dreadbox pedals. So, thank you so much for sending it to us.
Do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Are you up for the craziness?
Yes. Do you want to be Treminated?
Treminator. Links below to Instagram, Facebook, a podcast. Check them out if you got a second.
Yeah, I'm going to put a Dreadbox playlist at the end of the video too.
Check that out too. Thanks for hanging. We'll see you soon.
Playlist. We'll be back.